And South Korea has lodged a complaint with Israel after a plane load of South Koreans was refused entry. 12 Israeli passengers were taken off the Korean Airlines flight when it arrived in Tel Aviv, but 130 other passengers were turned back. Israel is now banning South Korean and Japanese visitors. The move follows the discovery of coronavirus among a group of South Korean tourists who visited Israel last week. Tell us how they're getting a handle on things in Daegu.
Well, that's right. I mean, these measures would be welcomed here by health officials and hospital officials trying to deal with these two outbreaks that we've had. We have two clusters here in the southeast of the country. That's the main concern, really, for the whole of South Korea at the moment, is making sure that these clusters do not spread. Here in the city of Daegu, we have one cluster that we know is centered on a particular church here, a number of churchgoers being infected. In fact, they account for just over half of the total number of infections. But in neighboring Cheongdo County here, we've also had another cluster that is linked to this city, where we've had a hospital that had the disease spread very quickly through patients and members of staff. That hospital now is being converted, being dedicated to fighting the coronavirus. Many of the patients who suffered from the coronavirus, very severe symptoms, have been transferred out, but extra medical staff have now been sent in there, converting that hospital along with a number of other facilities here, specialist wards, testing centres, all these different resources now being put to try to deal with this outbreak. And of course, by declaring the red alert level, the highest level, that allows the central government to direct more resources down to this southeast area. Moon Jae-in, the president of South Korea, was in a very grave mood when he announced the new measures, saying that the next few days for South Korea will be critical, saying that the country is at a kind of a watershed juncture. It's very important that if this is going to be controlled, and it has to be controlled at this moment, calling on provinces and also cities to take the initiative to step up to support this effort. There are various other measures being taken, such as schools that have been on vacation. That vacation has been extended well into the week. All the different ways of trying to reduce the risk of further infections, trying to stop further clusters from forming anywhere in South Korea.
Is there a sense of responsibility there, Rob, for the citizens themselves to self-isolate, to do their part to try to keep this from spreading?
There is, when you go around, you talk to people, people are very alarmed, they're very worried, fearful almost, but there doesn't seem to be a sense of panic. South Koreans have been through these kind of outbreaks before. They've dealt with MERS, for example, from the Middle East, which was a very deadly outbreak that claimed a number of lives. So they know what to do. They do seem to heed the warnings. Here in the city of Daegu, the streets have been eerily quiet as people have basically stayed indoors. The government made an appeal. This being a Sunday, you'd expect to see church services take place throughout South Korea. Especially in the southeast of the country, all the churches seem basically to be locked shut. People have heeded that warning. They have stayed away from crowds. The government's also urged the same to take place in Seoul. At weekends, we have large rallies, large gatherings, but a number of political parties, especially those opposed to the government, it seems, have gone ahead with their rallies. It seems even the coronavirus doesn't get in the way of politics here in South Korea.
That is so true. Rob Mcbride live for us in Daegu. Rob, thank you.